Hello everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in today. I truly appreciate you taking the time to check out this video. Before we dive into the topic, please don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss any updates. Everything shared in this video is for entertainment and commentary purposes only. All opinions are my own, and any claims discussed are alleged. Under the Copyright Act of 1976, fair use allows for criticism, commentary, and educational discussion on the content presented here. Alright, now that we've got that out of the way, let's jump right into it. There are some stories that make people stop and ask a simple question: what was he thinking? That's exactly what many people are asking about Martell Holt right now. After everything that's happened, from his ongoing custody battle with Melody Sherry, to his public downfall, to his constant need to control the narrative, the latest twist in this situation has left fans completely speechless. People are now saying that Martell Holt didn't just miss court by accident. They believe he planned to lose this case. They believe he made a decision long before that court date, a decision that would shape how people see him as a father, a man, and a public figure. From the outside, it looked like Martell simply didn't show up. It seemed like another example of him being careless, missing important deadlines, and putting his pride before responsibility. But when you start piecing together the timing, the behavior, and the way things unfolded, it starts to look more deliberate. He knew about that court date months in advance. It wasn't something that caught him by surprise. The date had been set since June, giving him more than enough time to plan around it. Yet somehow, he still ended up at the airport on the very same day, flying out for filming, acting as if court was just another optional event. The question becomes, how could someone who claims to love his children so much just ignore such an important day? How could a father choose to travel for television when his children's future was on the line? The answer that many people are arriving at is painful to hear, but it's one that makes sense when you look at the bigger picture. People are saying that Martell didn't want the responsibility anymore. He didn't want the pressure, the bills, or the daily work that came with full custody. Deep down, he may have known he couldn't handle it, and instead of admitting that to Melody or to the court, he simply let things fall apart. He let the system take its course, knowing the outcome would free him from the burden of being a full-time parent. For a man who once fought tooth and nail to look like the perfect father, this is a shocking twist. Remember, Martell has always been concerned with how he's perceived. He's always tried to maintain that image of a man who does everything for his children, who provides, who leads. But this situation exposed something else entirely. It showed a man who couldn't take care of his home, who couldn't pay his bills without help, and who, according to people close to the situation, depended on Melody to bail him out even after their marriage ended. There were reports that Melody had to pay his light bill, send groceries through delivery services, and even make sure the kids had food when they were with him. What kind of father lets that happen? It's the kind of behavior that makes people question everything. Maybe Martell was never fighting for custody because he truly wanted it. Maybe he was fighting because of what? It represented power, control, and an image to protect. Once he realized there was no financial gain in winning, once he knew that he wouldn't get child support from Melody, some people believe he started to lose interest. To him, it wasn't about the kids anymore, it was about what he could get out of the situation. When that benefit disappeared, so did his effort. There are even claims that Martell's actions leading up to that court date were all part of a plan. According to people online, he never intended to walk into that courtroom. He made travel plans, he went live with Destiny, and he made sure everyone knew he was on the way to the airport. It wasn't a coincidence. It was a message, maybe to Melody, maybe to the world, that he was done pretending. That he was walking away from the responsibility but trying to make it look like an accident. Some say he didn't want to be the one to say, "I can't handle this." He didn't want to look weak. So he did the one thing he's been doing for years, avoiding accountability while maintaining a story that fits his ego. The irony of it all is that he still wants to appear like the victim. Martell has always been skilled at playing both sides, the man who's wronged and the man who never takes blame. He posts inspirational quotes, acts like he's misunderstood, and paints himself as the one who just wants peace. But actions don't lie. Missing that court date wasn't just carelessness. It was an act that spoke volumes about where his priorities truly are. Even more disturbing are the stories that have resurfaced about how far Martell was willing to go in the past to keep tabs on Melody's finances. People haven't forgotten the story about him trying to get their son to copy down her credit card numbers. They haven't forgotten how desperate he was to stay involved in her money, her business, and her success. That kind of behavior shows a pattern: a man obsessed with control, but not commitment. A man who wants access, not accountability. Many online voices are calling him out for being manipulative, irresponsible, and selfish. They say this isn't just about missing court, it's about a deeper truth that's been there all along. Martell Holt, the self-proclaimed builder and family man, might not have been fighting for his kids for love, he might have been fighting for leverage. When the court's decision meant he couldn't get financial benefits, he allegedly decided it wasn't worth it anymore. It's a heartbreaking theory, but it's one that fits what we've seen from him. Fans of Love and Marriage, Huntsville have been following this saga for years, and by now, they know Martell's patterns. He loves to talk about being a provider, yet the stories that come out show a man who couldn't keep his lights on. He loves to say he's a good father, yet he's missed milestones, skipped responsibilities, and turned serious family matters into reality TV moments. And when he does face backlash, instead of owning up, he tries to shift the focus to others, usually Melody or other cast members. Now, with this new court outcome, the streets of Huntsville are buzzing. People are saying that the rest of the cast, especially Marceau, won't hold back. Allegedly, the cast has been waiting for this moment, and the reunion might be filled with fireworks. They know how Martell loves to talk about others, and now that the tables have turned, they might finally get the chance to confront him about everything. The rumors are flying that Marceau is going to use this situation as ammunition, and honestly, who could blame him? After everything Martell has said and done, it's almost poetic that his own actions are catching up with him. But let's talk about the human side for a moment. At the end of the day, this isn't just about TV drama. It's about real children caught in the middle of their father's pride. Those kids have been through enough: the public fighting, the online insults, the custody battle. They've seen both parents under intense scrutiny, and they've had to live with the consequences of adult decisions they never asked for. So when Martell chose to skip court, it wasn't just a blow to his reputation, it was another reminder that his choices directly affect his children's lives. People who watched this situation unfold online noticed how calm Melody seemed afterward. She didn't gloat, she didn't make any big statements. That calmness said everything. It's the calm of someone who's already been through the storm, someone who no longer has to prove anything. She's been handling the children, the home, and her career for years. So this ruling didn't change her reality, it just made official what's been true all along. She's been the one holding it all together. Martell, on the other hand, continues to unravel. Now that he's lost custody, the next question is, will he even show up for visitation? Because people are already predicting that he won't. The pattern with people like Martell is that once the attention fades, the effort fades too. He might show up a few times at first, try to make it look good for the cameras, and then slowly disappear from the routine. That's what many believe will happen. They think he'll start missing those Thursday pickups, come up with excuses, and eventually stop showing up altogether. And if that happens, it will confirm what so many already believe, that this was his plan all along. It's sad, but it's also revealing. The same man who bragged about taking care of another woman and her kids, the same man who flaunted his relationship with Ariane Curry, couldn't even provide for his own. People are furious that he publicly claimed to keep another woman while his ex-wife had to send groceries for his children. It's hypocrisy at its finest. You can't claim to be a provider when you can't even provide for your household. You can't brag about being a good man when your actions tell the opposite story. Fans haven't forgotten how Martell and Ariane used to act online, always defensive, always deflecting. But now that things have come full circle, people are noticing how quiet it's gotten on that side. There's no bragging now. There's no victory speech. Just silence, and in that silence, people are seeing the truth. Because no matter how much Martell tries to spin the narrative, losing custody is not something that can be explained away. It's a moment that forces reflection, even if he refuses to do it publicly. The theory that Martell wanted to lose the case may sound wild to some, but when you put the pieces together, it fits. If he really believed there was nothing in it for him, no child support, no money, no image boost, then walking away becomes easier. It's the ultimate form of selfishness, disguised as indifference. It's the act of a man who's given up but wants to make it look like a noble choice. And in the process, the people who suffer the most are the children. Many have pointed out that Martell's behavior mirrors a pattern seen in many public figures who lose control of their narrative. They start by trying to control everything, the image, the story, the perception. But when that control slips away, they start making erratic choices. Missing court, ignoring legal responsibilities, and surrounding themselves with people who enable them. Destiny going live with him on the same day as court wasn't just a coincidence, it was another example of how the people around him often play into his chaos, knowingly or not. It's a pattern of poor decisions that leads to predictable outcomes. And yet, through all this, Martell still seems to think he can repair his image through charm and denial. But people are tired. The audience has evolved. They're no longer fooled by rehearsed apologies or staged moments. They've seen too much. They've seen Melody's strength, her composure, her resilience. They've seen Martell's downfall unfold step by step. And this court situation feels like the final nail, the point where people stop making excuses for him. Some say that Martell will use this situation to play the sympathy card. They think he'll go online soon, post a video, maybe even tear up, trying to paint himself as misunderstood. But that strategy isn't going to work this time. The facts speak louder than tears. He had a choice: show up to court and fight for his children, or skip it and go film. He chose filming. That choice will haunt him for a long time. Meanwhile, those who supported him are starting to distance themselves. Even his so-called allies seem quieter now. The more people learn about what really happened, the less sympathy they have. The public sentiment has shifted. What once was seen as a custody fight is now being viewed as a personal failure. A moment that reveals who Martell truly is when no cameras are rolling. The fallout from this is going to linger. On Love and Marriage, Huntsville, every cast member has their own drama, but this one cuts deeper. It's about integrity, priorities, and the kind of man Martell has shown himself to be. The cast will likely bring it up. Marceau might crack jokes. The tension will build. But underneath all the reality TV noise, there's a sad truth: Martell has lost more than just a case. He's lost credibility, respect, and possibly the bond with his own children. In the end, it's not just a story about court dates or child support. It's a story about accountability. About a man who had every chance to do the right thing but chose the easy way out. About how pride can destroy everything, from family to reputation. And while the internet debates whether Martell wanted to lose on purpose, one thing remains clear: he's already lost in more ways than one. Melody will continue to move forward. The kids will be okay because they've always had her stability. The public will keep watching, discussing, and reacting. And Martell will keep trying to find a way back into relevance, back into control. But once people see your true colors, there's no turning back. You can't unsee a pattern of behavior that keeps repeating itself. You can't unhear the stories that have been told. And you can't rebuild trust that's been shattered time and time again. So maybe the real question isn't, did he try to lose the case? Maybe the real question is, when did he stop trying at all? Because from the looks of it, Martell Holt stopped trying a long time ago, and this court case just made that fact impossible to ignore.